on the Water has been brought to you by
Morning, here we are on the banks of the Yarra River at the Banks Rowing Club with Helen and Katherine. They're going to teach us the difference between rowing, sculling and sweeping. Morning, girls.
Morning, Lee.
How did you get involved in this and why?
Well, it began with my brother taking up rowing at his school, and then when it was offered at my school, I thought I'd give it a go. And I just continued on from there, from school rowing to club rowing.
How often do you row?
In the competitive season, we're on the water at about 5 to 7 times a week, in different crew boats, small boats, big boats.
How long is the competitive season?
Well, it depends who your coach is. Under my coach, we're competitive for about 8 months of the year. Other clubs are only sort of competitive for about 6 months of the year.
Would you prefer to have a different coach, or is your coach you have particularly good and that's why there's longer seasons?
I'm very happy with my coach, and I think that's what gives us a bit of a winning edge, that we start early and we do a lot of sculling over winter to prepare for the competitive season, so I'm happy with it.
Are there other gym or conditioning sessions you have to do apart from rowing?
We also do weight sessions 3 times a week, sometimes also cross-training and ergos, which sort of just build our cardiovascular fitness.
Can anybody join the club?
Yes, provided they pay the membership fee. In terms of our club, it's more directed towards people who already have rowing experience, but there's other clubs such as Melbourne Rowing Club, which will teach people how to start, have a beginner program and can teach them how to row.
Right. Who owns the boats?
The boats are owned by the rowing club, and there's also some privately owned boats, generally single sculls, which can be purchased separately and then stored within the rowing club.
How much would you pay for a single scull?
Anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 for a good racing single scull.
It's a decent investment, $5,000 or $10,000. You'd want to use that 8 months of the year, wouldn't you? What's the difference between the 3 disciplines, rowing, sculling and sweeping?
Rowing's a general term for the sport itself. Sculling is when you have 2 oars, 1 in each hand. Sweeping is when you have 1 oar each per crew member, and it's a slightly different technique between the two, between sculling and sweeping.
Ah, fair enough. So it's not something like we'd expect to be doing in the bar?
No.
There's a lot of boats on the water we saw here this morning. What's the etiquette for being on the river so you don't crash into one another?
Generally the same river rules apply for all boating. So you keep over to your bow side and follow the line of the bank. Give way to other crews when you're turning across the river. And the other thing is, given that you're going backwards, if there's a crew approaching you and you can see them approaching you, the thing to do is to call out to them so that they know you're there, so that there's no collisions.
Is there any travel to exotic places involved?
Depends whether you call Geelong or Nagambie exotic places. I certainly wouldn't consider them exotic places.
How do you make the decision to row alone or with others? For, you know, in a 2 or a 4 or so forth?
There's a number of factors. Depends whether your coach tells you to row in a single, because rowing single sculls is pretty good for your own technique development. It also depends on who's available, whether you can organise someone else to come and row with you for a session, and also, I suppose, what you're competing in that weekend.
Have there been any technological advances in the construction of boats since the sport first started?
Yeah, there certainly have. The boats were originally made of timber and a lot heavier than they are now, and so now they're made out of fiberglass, and the oars are made of carbon. And it's quite a complex system in terms of getting the right shape and flexibility in the mould of the boat, and getting the right weight.
Weight distribution or the weight altogether?
Weight distribution, as well as the appropriate weight of the boat for the people that are going to be rowing it. So there's different classes of boats, for example, for men and women, for heavy men and lightweight men, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye then.
That's right.
Yeah. What safety arrangements in place, and have the new marine safety rules had any effect on the sport?
There's a number of safety precautions. For example, the foot stretcher, which we tie our feet into, has to have a quick release action on it. There also has to be a rubber bow ball on the end of the boat to soften any impact if we crash into anything. In terms of the new Marine Act, it doesn't affect us specifically, but however, when we're being coached, obviously our coaches have to wear life jackets. And also if we're going into more open water, then that will bring on the need to also wear life jackets.
Oh, yeah. So whilst you're rowing in rivers and in pretty much sheltered water like this, you don't have to, there's no change really.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you were to go out into the bay or somewhere, you'd need to wear a life jacket, same as everybody else.
Yeah, that's right.
So thanks for your time this morning, girls. Can you take Caveman for a row?
Yeah, all right.
Good, here he comes, look out.
Yoopsie! It's all to do with time.
Don't fear, don't pray when you can't see the light your way.
After the break, horsepower. On the Water has been brought to you by